powerful rockets launching deep space probes into the cosmos, the deafening roar of crafts tearing through the upper atmosphere, high-intensity lasers neutralizing targets with absolute pinpoint precision. Are these truly the hallmarks of modern human achievement? Or are they merely the echoes of a forgotten science, lost to the deep recesses of time? Throughout the world, we find remnants of ancient cultures guarding records of a technology so advanced, it challenges our entire understanding of history. Technologies described as capable of reshaping the landscape with supernatural ease. How did the ancients possess concepts of advanced weaponry that we are only now beginning to grasp? Did humanity lose a golden age of technology, leaving us to spend millennia struggling to reinvent the wheel? And did this advanced knowledge originate within the human mind? Or was it inherited from a world far beyond our own? In the 10th century, the Arab historian al-Masudi recorded a baffling oral tradition detailing how the Great Pyramids were raised. According to his writings, the builders placed sheets of papyrus, inscribed with enigmatic symbols, beneath the massive stone blocks. Then, they struck the stone with a rod of gold. What followed was described as a spectacle that defied gravity itself. The stone would gently rise into the air, gliding forward over a cushion of sound, traveling roughly 45 meters at a time before gently coming to rest. The coordinator holding the rod appeared to act not as a laborer, but as a maestro, conducting a grand invisible symphony of levitation. What kind of technology were the ancient Egyptians actually employing? Because this narrative stands in stark contrast to the conventional imagery of mainstream history. Tens of thousands of slaves, heavy ropes, and monumental dirt ramps built under a scorching sun. To a modern skeptic, the concept of acoustic levitation sounds entirely mythical. Yet, these accounts are not isolated to Egypt. We see variations of this narrative globally. From the monolithic ruins of the Maya to the colossal temple of Greece. Nowhere is this mystery more prominent than at Baalbek, Lebanon, home to megaliths weighing over 1,000 tons. Megaliths so massive that their movement and positioning remain challenging even by modern engineering standards. How were these supermassive structures handled? Did the ancients possess a profound understanding of acoustic resonance? Or did they have access to an intelligence far superior to their own? Ancient astronaut theorists argue that the answers may be hidden in plain sight, woven into the fabric of our oldest legends. In 1997, author Bruce Cathy published an extraordinary account in his book The Bridge to Infinity, detailing an event allegedly witnessed by a Swedish physician, Dr. Jarl. While visiting a remote monastery in Tibet, Dr. Jarl reportedly witnessed the monks utilizing the power of sound to lift immense stone blocks up a sheer cliff face, 250 meters high. The setup was meticulously precise. 13 bronze drums and 6 long trumpets, arranged in a perfect arc facing a massive stone block. Behind these instruments stood nearly 200 monks waiting for the signal. When the ceremony began, the smaller drums produced a piercing, high-frequency cadence, while the larger instruments emitted a deep resonant rumble that shook the ground. The monks chanted in unison, their tempo accelerating with every passing second. For the first 4 minutes, nothing happened. But as the acoustic vibration reached a frantic crescendo, the stone block began to sway. Then, it suddenly lifted into the air, ascending toward the cliffside before landing softly at the entrance of a cave. Could a specific frequency of vibration truly counteract the forces of gravity? To these observers, it appeared as though the ancient instruments acted as sophisticated wave amplifiers. If true, did this knowledge develop organically, or was it introduced during a time when human tools were otherwise primitive? Consider this. Our planet has existed for over 4.5 billion years. Yet, across the cosmos, there are star systems and civilizations that may have evolved billions of years before us. Their understanding of the universe would be unimaginably advanced. And if these ancient voyagers possessed the ability to manipulate gravity, what else were they capable of? In 329 BCE, Alexander the Great was marching his formidable army toward India, poised to expand his empire. But according to some later accounts, his campaign was brought to an abrupt halt by an anomaly in the sky. As the army prepared to cross the Indus River, shimmering metallic discs allegedly descended from the clouds. The texts describe these objects diving aggressively toward the war elephants and cavalry, unleashing a wave of absolute chaos. Gripped by panic, the soldiers scattered, camps were trampled, and the invasion was prematurely broken. Whether in antiquity or the modern era, these unidentified aerial phenomena are consistently described in the same way. Moving at speeds that appear to bypass the fundamental laws of aerodynamics. Objects darting across the sky at extreme velocities, making sharp 90-degree turns without ever slowing down. Some physicists hypothesize that such maneuvers would only be possible if the craft utilized a localized gravitational distortion field. By creating an isolated gravitational bubble around the vehicle, the exterior forces of Earth's gravity and inertia would cease to apply. While engineering such a craft remains far beyond our current capabilities, mainstream science concedes that theoretically, localized gravity manipulation is possible. Could this explain how these crafts navigate the vast distances of interstellar space? And how does that smooth, silent propulsion compare to the violent, explosive power of our current space program? At the Kennedy Space Center, modern astronauts sit atop millions of pounds of propellant, waiting to break orbit. When the solid rocket boosters ignite, they unleash a terrifying primal force. To witness a rocket launch in person is a transformative experience. Even miles away, the sheer sound wave hit your chest with a visceral, ground-shaking vibration. It is an inspiring triumph of modern engineering. But are these voyages entirely new? Or did our ancestors witness something remarkably similar millennia ago? When a rocket launches today, the absolute protocol is to retreat to a safe distance. Perhaps this explains the description found in our earliest texts. When the gods arrived or departed, they did so amid clouds of smoke, fire, and deafening thunder. To a primitive eyewitness, the only way to catalogue a rocket propulsion system was to deify it. Ancient astronaut theorists have long noted the striking similarities in how these celestial departures are recorded across disconnected cultures. In ancient China, texts speak of flying dragons ascending to the heavens with a roar that shook the earth, leaving fire and smoke in their wake. The first emperors were said to have a deep connection to these fire dragons. Whenever they appeared, the ground trembled, forcing the populace to prostrate themselves in fear. Viewed through a modern technological lens, could these dragons have been a primitive interpretation of mechanical spacecraft? Similarly, Greek mythology describes deity traversing the sky in brilliant fiery chariots. Even the Old Testament records anomalies of fire and light descending from above, described as divine clouds or wheels of fire. Could these be independent eyewitness accounts of the same advanced propulsion systems? In southern Mesopotamia, the ancient Sumerians established a civilization famous for its highly advanced astronomical calculations and its enduring epics. The Epic of Gilgamesh describes the king being taken high into the atmosphere. Looking down from the craft, he described the topography of the earth with startling accuracy. From these Sumerian texts, we also find references to an object known as the Shem. In ancient reliefs, the Shem is often depicted as a conical chamber, bearing a striking resemblance to the manned command modules placed atop modern rockets today. The texts indicate that the Shem was a vehicle used by the priesthood to interact with the gods or to ascend to the heavens. It is a fascinating linguistic and visual parallel, matching the core architecture of modern space travel. Did humanity's earliest civilizations possess an anomalous understanding of rocketry? In the 1st century, nearly 2,000 years before the Industrial Revolution, a brilliant Greek mathematician named Hero of Alexandria constructed a device known as the Aeolipile. Derived from the name of Aeolus, the Greek god of wind, the Aeolipile is recognized as the world's first rudimentary steam turbine. It operated on the exact principle of reaction and propulsion that drives modern rocketry. A metal sphere spun rapidly by the kinetic pressure of steam escaping from 2 opposing nozzles. Hero was an exceptional mechanic, yet the device remained a novelty, its blueprints eventually lost to the fires of history. We are left to wonder where the underlying inspiration for such a radical leap in mechanical engineering originated. In Homer's Odyssey, great minds are frequently described as receiving direct inspiration from the divine. Some alternative researchers suggest a form of external intervention. However, a more grounded hypothesis suggests that Hero may have uncovered fragments of much older lost texts, containing advanced engineering concepts. If so, are these ancient diagrams and mythology the lingering footprints of a prolonged prehistoric contact event? In May of 2010, off the coast of California, the US Navy conducted a classified test, successfully downing an unmanned drone using a high-intensity laser directed from a warship a mile away. The weapon incinerated the target mid-air, demonstrating the reality of directed energy weaponry. But records suggest that this modern concept, the death ray, may have been deployed over 2,000 years ago. In 214 BCE, the Greek city of Syracuse was besieged by the powerful fleet of the Roman Empire. Though heavily outnumbered, ancient accounts claim the city held out due to a terrifying defense system engineered by the polymath Archimedes. Long before Nikola Tesla envisioned his own energy weapons, Archimedes reportedly utilized the principle of optics on an unprecedented scale. The texts claim he constructed an array of highly polished bronze mirrors, focusing the collective rays of the sun onto the wooden hulls of the Roman warships. The result was devastating. Vessels reportedly burst into flames spontaneously upon approaching the harbor, sending the fleet into a panicked retreat. Archimedes demonstrated that a rudimentary directed energy weapon was entirely viable. But where did he find the inspiration for a concept so far ahead of his time? Historians note that Archimedes studied the oldest layers of Greek mythology, stories of the gods wielding weapons of immense thermal power. In the Greek pantheon, Zeus wields the ultimate weapon, the thunderbolt, described not as a natural storm, but as a directed beam of energy that struck with absolute calculation. If ancient voyagers did interact with early humans, their energy weapons would have been indistinguishable from magic. To the primitive mind, anyone controlling plasma and directed energy was by definition a god. Does physical evidence of these ancient energy weapons exist today? Scattered across the landscapes of Scotland lie the ruins of prehistoric stone fortresses dating back thousands of years. What makes them extraordinary is a phenomenon known as vitrification. The massive stone walls have been subjected to such intense thermal energy that the granite blocks literally melted, fusing together into a dense, glassy slag. Geological analysis revealed that these stones were exposed to continuous temperatures exceeding 1000 degrees Celsius. Natural fires, or siege tactics of that era, struggle to fully explain how that level of localized heat was generated or sustained. Curiously, only the fortresses themselves show these signs of extreme thermal melting. The surrounding natural rock formations remain completely unaffected. In Celtic mythology, this very region was said to be the battleground of Lugh, the god of light and war. Much like Zeus, Lugh possessed a legendary spear that reportedly spat beams of fire and lightning, dissolving enemy ranks instantly. The descriptions in the myth match the precise physical damage found at the vitrified forts of Scotland. Could the legend of Lugh's spear be the historical echo of a high-tech energy weapon deployed in the ancient world? The concept of acoustic levitation, gravity manipulation, reaction engines, and directed energy weapons sound like the tropes of modern science fiction. Yet, as our own technology advances, we find ourselves rebuilding the very devices described in our oldest records. History, it seems, is cyclical. The past of our planet may not be a simple story of linear progress, but a complex tapestry of lost science and forgotten interventions. When these technological anomalies are finally decoded, will they unlock the true origin of human civilization? And by rediscovering this ancient knowledge, are we simply preparing ourselves to step back out into the cosmos? The investigation deepens. In a part 3.